Good morning, everybody. This is Irene with BrainStormAcres, and I thought you'd take you around the greenhouse today a little bit and show you what I'm going to be up to next. It's time to get rid of a couple of plants that have kind of either finally expired or come close to expiring, and we do have some lettuce that's bolting. So I'm going to be getting rid of those things, and I'm going to be replanting some new seeds. So come on along with me. I'll take you for a little tour also of what is working, and then we'll get those seeds planted. First, let's take a tour of the cabbage. Now, we've been trying to decide exactly when we should harvest this guy. This is a tiara, and these are not supposed to create gigantic heads of cabbage. They're only about a pound a piece, and that is just totally solid. And we've got a couple of them. This one, and this one, and that one, and that one that are huge. So we're gonna be I gotta look at the grow books a little bit more and see what they recommend. These guys here are Copenhagen, and they're a much longer season thing. They're starting to form some nice heads now, but they won't be ready for a long time. The Swiss chard is doing fine. This very sick looking cucumber is still alive, so I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do with him yet. Okay, this is our lettuce department here, and we have a couple of romaine that are now bolting. They've gotten to be too bitter. This guy in particular here, and let's see which one of the, I think this one here is bolting for sure. So what I'm going to do is I will be taking them out later today. That'll give us a little bit more space in here. Most of these shorter let me try that again. Most of these shorter lettuces are fine. This is Salanova Green Crisp. This is a newer lettuce that was planted in much shorter time frame ago. This is Green Star. Now, Green Star I'm actually going to plant a little bit more of today. It's old seed, so it has a lousy germination rate, but I'm going to go ahead and like quadruple plant the cells and see if I can get some more of that out of there. I don't have a lot of different selections of lettuce on hand in my collection of seeds, so I'm just kind of making do a little bit with what I've got. But I do want to get these romaine that are past their best if used by date out of here, because they're just taking up space. That'll give their cousins some more time to go. These other Salanovas, they look funny right now because they've been harvested from the bottom, but they're not actually bolting yet. And I've tasted them, retasted them a couple times, so they're still fine. If they are bolting, they haven't gotten bitter. So as far as I'm concerned, they're fine. And the little oak leaves down here show no signs of bolting at all. We really have enjoyed growing lettuce in here. The question is, if we grow it outside in the summer, I kind of doubt it. I think we're going to have to change our philosophy of growth this summer completely, because last year was such a giant fail. We have radishes. Now, I picked another 4 radishes for Henry this morning. He's getting 4 radishes pretty much every other day, sometimes 2 days in a row. When I find them that are starting to crowd their buddies or something like that, I'll pick them. And they're doing really well. I have 2 different varieties in here. I have Sora and I have Crunchy. And he says there's definitely a difference in flavor. The Crunchy are kind of a ubiquitous everyday radish that you could make a radish salad out of. There's a gazillion yummy sweet things in there. The Sora are a bit spicier, And as he said, I could just sit there and eat crunchy all day, whereas sour is really nice and he likes the spiciness of it, but makes me question how much of them I will plant in the future. Because if I have a limited amount of space, then I'd rather plant something that he doesn't mind eating every day by the bucket. These are our golden beets. These are all touchstone, and there's a couple of them here I'll probably harvest next week. They're doing okay, but I'm not thrilled with their productivity at this point. So we'll see. That may not be something we want to do in the future in the greenhouse in the winter. I think they just slows down their growth too much, and my concern with the slowing down part is that if beets grow slowly, sometimes they can get woody. So we'll have to see. These are tomatoes. Some of them look great, some of them look crappy. This silly thing over here is actually a cantaloupe. It, for some reason, is still alive. These little bitty guys down in here at the bottom of this, going to be ripped out today, cucumber, are kohlrabies, and they have come up very nicely. I had decided to put them into these big pots, just kind of tucked around. There's a couple of them in here, and there's more in the tomatoes, because why not? And I have to water these darn pots, you know, every couple of days, and I make sure that the pots stay moist, so it seemed like a great thing to use, that extra space. I am still watering these two Dutch buckets, believe it or not, down in here. Now the second plant that came up here was killed by frost because they really got clobbered. We had, I mean, the water at the bottom of these trays was frozen that night, but there's still a leaf in there, so I'm watering it. This guy here also has a green section, so I'm watering it out of curiosity. I'm not holding my breath. I'm not worried about it. These are leeks and onions. They're candy onions, and they are King Richard leeks, which is actually, from my understanding, having done more reading this winter, not the best choice. But hey, I had the seeds, so I decided I'd throw them in there and see if anything happened. These are all cabbage. We have pak choy back here. We have multiple phases of pak choy, everything from we could eat them today to we won't be able to eat them for a couple of weeks. They finally have started to perk up a bit. I have another batch of pak choy that I'm experimenting with under this. These, with the label sticks, are all pak choy, and these guys are kohlrabi. And this is Asian greens. And what I'm doing, hey, it's lovely green in there because it just stays so moist, but what I'm trying to do is moderate the temperature and keep it a bit warmer than the ambient air temperature in the greenhouse, unless I know it's going to be a real hot day. We've been home most of the time lately, and we haven't had any real hot days. We may have some this summer. I mean, this summer. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some this summer. We may have some this week where it really warms up because we're supposed to have very clear weather. In that case, I'll take these lids off. But I'm experimenting with trying to keep them a bit warmer because the other kohlrabis over here have just been going so slowly. And I know if I'm not careful, well, I know I screwed up. I didn't get to plant it early enough. So these guys are going to get eaten, and I'm going to be out of full-size kohlrabi, out of full-size pak choy, and that's not fun because I really like having pak choy available at any moment for stir fry or soup. We really like our pak choy in our soup. So there's that. These are more cabbages, and I do not currently plan to plant any more cabbages unless I plant them much later this spring to set out as an experiment. I might do that. We're still looking for suggestions for how to solve our problems with our June bug larva. I've been pushing it out on one of the Facebook groups, and so far the best suggestion for an organic solution is nematodes. So I have to read up on that a little bit. I have never used nematodes, although I have been aware of them for a very long time. Now this little cover here is mache, also called corn salad. I think there's like 10 little seedlings in there. If you zoom in really closely, you can see some little green guys. Anyway, so they've just popped up this week, and I'm very glad to see them. That's another one of our experiments. Now you'll notice this has nothing in it, and that's because that's where I'm going to plant today. I save a lot of odd things. This is the top for trays that we purchased 2 years ago. I decided that since I am trying to cover things in here to create a little bit more heat, and also I like to cover them when they're sprouting because our moisture content can be super low. Now right now in here, actually, if you look at this over here, you'll see the dots on the floor. This is actually the roof raining on us, and I occasionally get whacked while I'm out here. That's because we're heating in here. The propane naturally creates water, and as part of its burning process here, so it's putting water into the inside of this thing and making it drippy. In fact, this morning I carefully brought out my pen for marking the little wooden tags and everything else like that. Got out here, and I knew these were out here and they had never been used, so they were great. But unfortunately, the spot that they were sitting was in this puddle over here that was caused by not any spillage on my part, but by the roof leaking.